Hi, everyone. I am here today with my good friend, Arguello. Not playing Minecraft or any other video games today. Instead, we are going to chat a little bit about some music stuff. Ellie and I have a strong friendship that often surrounds the idea of music, especially indie and pop music. And she knows just probably more than anybody that I know about that scene. She's very educated in that. So anyway, we filmed a podcast episode for her podcast, Defeating the Purpose, a few weeks ago, which you should go listen to because it's fun.
Available on all podcast platforms.
It is, and it's very good. It's a really good time. But anyway, we talked about music, and what was supposed to be like a 20-ish minute episode, we ended up having like an hour or an hour and a half of raw footage. And I was like, hey, yeah, we had to stop the podcast there, but wait, like we should just have another chat about it. And so that's what we're doing today. Oh man, I meant to post this on Twitter too. Let me throw that up on Twitter really fast. But anyway, I had her and I select 5 albums of 2020 that like made our 2020 survivable. And we're going to talk about them today and just kind of talk about the indie and pop music scene and how it's changing yeah, the scene quite literally. And yeah, it should be a good time, and I hope that you enjoy. Let me throw this on Twitter really fast, as the indie kids do.
Twitter, the home of indie kids everywhere.
Literally.
Music? I framed my camera so that you can see my posters. Ignore the Panic at the Disco one.
Panic at the Who? Never heard of them.
I don't know who that is, guys. Guys, did you hear that? I'm scared.
I don't know what was that. Okay. Twitter is live. Let us get into this conversation. Okay. Do you want to start off with your first album?
Is this in any order? I haven't ordered them. Okay. Well then, I'm gonna start with Sawayama by Rina Sawayama. This is her second album, I believe. It's her sophomore album. But I love it personally. I think it is a great pop album that mixes a bunch of different genres, so it falls into that like that weird indie place where they're like, we don't know where to put this, we'll put it here, kind of genre. And I remember listening to it for the first time and sending it to you and being like, do you hear this? Do you hear this? I'm so confused, but I think I like it. And I do. I really do like it. And that was like one of the albums at the start of quarantine where it was probably like, I don't know, June, where it's like still in that part where everyone was like taking walks with their families and stuff.
Such a niche part. Like that was real quarantine. Like, and honestly, at the time, I wasn't really having a good time, but now I kind of miss it.
Yeah, I was listening to Sawayama throughout that little phase.
Which truly, like, I feel like that really, I don't know if puncture is the right word, but like punctures that experience. Like, just that album is immaculate, but it is so unlike anything.
It is so different. Like, I was just shocked. I was so shocked when I heard it for the first time because I didn't know what kind of like amalgamation that this album was, and I knew that it's Dirty Hit, which is Maddie Healy's record label.
Maddie Healy, who is in the 1975 for those who may not know that.
And all those bands in Dirty Hit are just so singular.
They never miss. They never miss.
Yeah.
I'm obsessed with Dirty Hit. I would love actually, I don't know if I'm capable of one day being able to be a part of Dirty Hit just because of
Satisfactory.
Satisfactory is maybe more my speed, but we'll talk about Satisfactory later. Okay, but do you have like a song on the album?
Yes.
Okay.
For all my albums, I picked out a few of my favorite songs on them. So on Sawayama, Bad Friend and XS, both of those were in my top 100 songs this year. I didn't listen to the whole album enough for like all of them to be on there, but Bad Friend for sure. Just a bop. I like the way that she paints pictures in her music is so cool. Like every song has a different colors and like different scenes associated with it. I know you really like Paradising Paradise-in. She doesn't have that G, I think.
Yeah, there's no G, but
I can imagine what she means in that song. And the same thing for Bad Friend, where she, like, in the first verse, she talks about, like, hotel rooms with your friends, but also, like, feeling like you're so apart, like you're so separate,
mm-hmm.
and, like, kind of taking it outside the hotel room and bringing it back to her. And I love the way Rina Sawayama songwrites and, like, puts her own sound on everything, and, like, takes experiences that we all kind of have, but puts really fun music to it. And it's just, I love it. I love it so much.
She reminds me a lot of, who I will talk about later as a runner-up, Caroline Polachek, who both of them are, like, female producers who just are limitless. Like, I don't know, they just think of anything and it works and they make it work. And I just think that is so cool I mean, you talk about artists, like, finding their sound, but they don't find their sound, they make their sound. And I think that's so unique to their experience.
100%.
100.
I was listening to a podcast with her on it. I don't think it was Tape Notes. I don't think it was Song Exploder. Maybe it was.
Two immaculate podcasts as well.
Yes. It was some podcast where she was breaking down a bunch of her songs with her producer. Maybe it was Tape Notes. I don't remember. But it was just so interesting to see how she and her producer put all, like, the bits and pieces and final touches and, like, glossings over of that album, because it really was, like, a great pop album. And it's been really awarded. Like, at the end of the year, a lot of people put it in their, like, top albums of 2020, but she still wasn't nominated for a Grammy, which I think is just crazy.
She was robbed.
She has the hype from fans enough, but not enough from, like, higher up, music critics or music publications.
And that,
but if she got that attention, I feel like she could have been a real contender for Best New Artist, Best Pop Album.
And that's what's such a shame too, especially about, like, women in the music industry and female producers, is there's never that connection to higher ups. I mean, I shouldn't say never, but it's very limited. And, you know, it's hard for them to get the recognition that, you know, their audiences feel like they deserve, because there's that disconnect. And, you know, the only way to really like, band-aid that is to mend the rift, you know, which I think is happening slowly but surely, especially with people like Phoebe Bridgers, who are doing their thing and, again, like, making their own path and not even, like, demanding the attention, but just being so good at what they do that you can't help but, you know, pay attention. Which, speaking of Phoebe Bridgers, my first of my top 5 albums is Punisher by Phoebe Bridgers, which came out earlier this year. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like that might have been one of your top 5 albums as well. Yeah. So we can kind of tackle this topic. But Punisher by Phoebe Bridgers, I dare to say, is one of, if not the greatest albums of this century. It is immaculate. It is near perfect in every way. And I'm not saying that to be like, I'm obsessed with Phoebe. Yeah, look, wait. Here.
I don't have my vinyls with me in here. They're over there.
Punisher. Actually, I think I might have a vinyl for almost every single album on my list. But anyway, Punisher by Phoebe Bridgers, which, actually, since I have it here, I'll just show, comes with this really lovely songbook or lyric book. And it has illustrations. Anyway, by Punisher. But again, I'm not just saying that because I love Phoebe Bridgers, which I do, which I wasn't even into Phoebe Bridgers till about quarantine, actually. Her music to me was it hit such a spot. It was too sensitive. I couldn't listen to it, which is also a little bit problematic because I was listening to, sorry, I just, like, lost my train of thought. I was listening to Funeral for the first time, and I was like, this is a little bit too much for me. And so I kind of avoided Phoebe Bridgers after that. But Punisher, just, like, I have no words. It is just, wow. Let me pull up the album. Highly recommend listening to it all the way through. Actually, with every album I recommended today, I recommend doing that with. But it was weird to see how each of the songs I like phased through. At the beginning of quarantine, I was very much into Garden Song, and for a while it was Garden Song and it was Savior Complex then. And I kind of stuck to those for a little bit because I was like, I can't really do anything more than this. These are also very fragile for me, but I'll move on later. And then slowly I started integrating like Punisher, Kyoto and Chinese Satellite. And then finally I listened to the album and I heard I Know the End, and it changed my life. I Know the End is to me a perfect song. It is 100% perfect. Nothing like it. It is perfect. So I feel like in Punisher there is something for everybody, and if there's not, you're just not looking hard enough, which might be a hot take, but like her lyricism adapts to all kinds of situations, and you know, it's beautiful. It's beautiful, and it is, again, I will say this 100 times this podcast thing, but it is unlike anything else ever.
Yeah, Garden Song was my number one song of the year. No surprise there. But that's probably because I think it was the first single of this album. So it came out way before anything else. But then Motion Sickness was my fourth most listened to song of the year. She had 2 songs on my top 5 this year, which was great. Yeah, I just love the way that she distinguishes this album. She she maintains her sound, but like it is very dissimilar to Stranger in the Alps. I love Stranger in the Alps a whole lot, and so I was like greatly anticipating Punisher for a really long time, because I just like, what is she gonna do next? I don't know, because she doesn't really release singles like that. She doesn't release something that's not gonna be on the album. Though she does have all those side projects like Boy Genius and Better Oblivion Community Center, and like the Christmas EP. Like, she can release that stuff, but everything really does have like its own tinge, and she can keep her sound, but like it's different every time. I love it. I love her so much, and I will forever be a fan. But Punisher was just an amazing album. Like, and no matter how depressing some of it is, like it really did get me out of bed, like during quarantine, like during that whole lull of it being really down for a lot of us. Like, Punisher in bed was the best thing ever. Like listening to the thing the whole way through. Listening to the album the whole way through is just such a pick me up, though it can be really sad.
Yeah, I remember
it's a pick me up for me, at least.
I remember you telling me like literally like Punisher, then I can get out of bed. And I was like, even today I'm still so like intrigued by that, because I have to like mentally prepare myself if I'm gonna hit Punisher all the way through in one day. Just like it's sad. Like a lot of the songs are really sad, and a lot of them pull nostalgia from you, like Dementors and Harry Potter. Like just suck it out. And maybe this is a testament to the kind of person I am, or maybe it's because I'm an Enneagram 4, but like nostalgia and me go together really well. But by well, I mean like tears, existential crisis. Like it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just a thing that I have to be prepared for. And Punisher, definitely I have to prepare myself to enter the beast.
It's really different every time for me. Because some lyric will hit you in a new way every time. And it was really hard listening to at first, when you're like starting to make those emotional connections to songs, and like finding yourselves in different places in the album, and like finding other people in lyrics and things. So it's hard to like make those connections at first, and then simultaneously trying to get over those connections so that you can listen to it without having to go through the motions. And that's kind of where I am with Stranger in the Alps now. That album came out in 2017, but I think I started listening to it around 2018. I don't know, maybe 2018. And so that album just, like, I do love it. I do love listening to it the full way through. Um, but you know, there's some songs where it's just like ow, 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 ow,
Ow, ow, ow,
ow.
please stop.
Yeah, and so a bunch of those songs on that album was on my top 100 of 2020 as well. But Punisher was just so different from Stranger in the Alps in a whole new way. Even though Phoebe might still be talking about the same person or same people, and it's like I've listened to all the podcasts and like read all the things that she's on, and I've like still like I've really dissected this album in a bunch of different ways, but it's still kind of like magical, you know, like no
Mm-hmm.
matter how much you take away over the production stuff, there's still like so much on this album that you'll never know about, and I really love that.
Yeah. I think again that also just proves how incredible of an artist Phoebe Bridgers is, and how like I feel like that's a way that you can determine if an album is good or not, is if every time, like, well, one, if you keep coming back, and two, if it's a new experience every single time. And
Mm-hmm.
new doesn't necessarily mean like different. It just pulls something else out of you, you know.
Yeah.
So all right. Well, that's Phoebe Bridgers. We could talk about her for hours, but let's move on to your second
All
album.
day. Okay. So Punisher was one of mine, but
Oh, yes.
we're done with that. Next one I have Women in Music Part 3 by Haim. I don't know if that was in your five.
No, but definitely now that you mention it, would be on my runner-up list if I thought of it.
So good. I love Haim. I've been fan of Haim since like, oh, I don't know, a long time, like 2015. Because I saw them at ACL when they were touring for their first album. I think I might have the dates wrong. Um, yeah, I saw them at ACL, discovered them there, and then really got into their music after that. And I became someone who waited for their albums to come out. And you know, not a whole lot of people I know love Haim, but I love gushing about them myself. Um, and the way that they've grown in like production and lyricism and everything over the last 5 years has been amazing. And Women in Music Part 3 is just so badass because it's like they're no longer talking about like little things happening, like you know how like you talk about everyday things in music. It's like Women in Music Part 3 is about them being women in music and like the struggles of, you know, maybe getting fame while also having to compete with like the people that want to bring you down in the industry, and you know, facing men in the music industry who really like don't think of you much, like, oh, you're three sisters in like a classic rock band, like that's not going to go well. But it's like, look at them, they're nominated for album of the year at the Grammys, they are kicking ass. I love the Haim sisters, their music puts me in a great mood. I I really admire them, and I've seen them twice now. Yeah, I think I saw them for their second album when they came to Stubbs, and they're so fun. Like these girls know how to play their instruments. Like whenever guys think about like women, all women like bands, they'll be like, they're just like angry girls who don't know how to play their instruments. And I'm like, these girls know how to play their instruments and they're so good at it. They're amazing live. Like I'd argue they're better live. Like it's crazy how great they are. And on this album, a few of my favorite songs have been Man from the Magazine, 3 a.m., and I Know Alone. I Know Alone was one of my top songs of 2020. Um, Man in the Magazine is basically like such a simple song, but Danielle Haim is like talking about um, how like journalists and how other musicians are always talking like down to them, and they're like, well, what the hell is this? I'm so tired of hearing about it, but like I have to, and it sucks, and I'm pissed about it, and I'm like, yeah, you should be. But it's like such a simple song. It's really beautiful. They're on an episode of Tape Notes too. It's like 2 hours, but you should listen to it. It's so good. It's like them and Rostam, who works with Vampire Weekend and other people, and it's like the amount of ways that they recorded for this album and thought of different things was amazing. I don't know. Did you like that album?
It wasn't my like top of 2020, but not because I didn't like it, just because it's not exactly my vibe, which is actually, now that I think about it, like I Know Alone was on my top songs of 2020, not like top 5, but that whole like Spotify album that they make for you.
Mm-hmm.
I love I Know Alone. I think it is, again, one of like a song that I would have loved to make. They're cool though. Like I really do. I look up to them a lot. And I think it's been cool to kind of watch from the outside how they've developed with each other. And it's like almost like coming out of their shell, just like really, again, not finding their sound but making it work. And that, that's a testament to them as artists and as siblings. Like that's crazy,
Yeah.
And you mentioned like they're up for album of the year, and it's like normally I'm not super into the Grammys because that's a whole other thing to talk about.
Totally.
But this year I'm really excited to see what happens, just because so many of my favorite once smaller artists are like up for amazing awards, and not only up for amazing awards but against each other. I'm like, don't do this to me, I can't. But yeah, no, I definitely appreciate that album a lot.
Yeah, those sisters are like one of the soundtracks to my teenhood. Like past 5 years, they're just, all their albums have really grown up with me, and I love them a lot. So hold time close to my heart.
Lovely.
Okay, what's your next album?
All right, let me, since I have the well, give me a sec. Where is it? I didn't think about this before I started. Here it is. Nope, wrong one. Here it is. Ugh. Okay. This is my second album of my top 5 is Ethan Gruska's On Guard, which actually I bought both Punisher and this vinyl at my favorite record store in Nashville, which is where I go to school. And then I literally bought them there and then lugged them home in like a special compartment in my suitcase so they wouldn't get damaged. But anyway, On Guard by Ethan Gruska came out. When did it come out? I know it came out in 2020. I can't remember what month. I think it came out a month before Punisher did, because Ethan and Phoebe are good friends. Actually,
it came out in May then.
Yes, it came out in May. Yeah, it was May, because I bought it when I came home for spring break, and then they said 2 weeks of spring break. I said cool, and then they said no more school, and I said So my dad and I ended up having to drive all the way to Tennessee to move me out, and then back to Texas. And that was in May, and I pre-ordered it. And it was when everything was shut down. So I pre-ordered it from them and then went and picked it up in their drive-through port. And it was like the day they like opened up again, not like with people, but enough for me to place a to-go order and have it put in my car and leave. Anyway, this is Ethan's second studio album. First one being Slow Motionary. Again, immaculate album. Listen to Slow Motionary first. I would say that I actually like Slow Motionary better. But this On Guard is something almost totally different. It still has hints of Slow Motionary in it, but it's totally its own thing, a different sound. Ethan Gruska is a producer, I think, first. Well, I shouldn't even say that, because his piano playing is something I have never heard before. He's incredible. He's an incredible musician, but I wouldn't say even greater. He's an incredible musician and also an incredible producer, and the two blend together so well. Phoebe Bridgers is featured on this album. She has her own song with him called Enough for Now, and then she also does a lot of the background stuff, and he actually produced on Punisher as well, so you can kind of hear those elements blend together. But a few of my top songs from this album are Dialing Drunk and Crash Cart, which Dialing Drunk especially sounds like a Slow Motionary song. But those two, Maybe I'll Go Nowhere, and Teenage Drug. I will say the Teenage Drug on this album is a redone version of the acoustic Teenage Drug, which came out, let me check. Teenage Drug came out a while ago. Well, I won't worry about it, but I would say listen to the acoustic first to appreciate the studio version. But anyway, On Guard is ethereal. It feels like meditation, but like if meditation was an adrenaline rush. You know what I mean? It just flows so beautifully. Each song is its own unit. They sound different from each other, but also have nice blending elements. I just think he outdid himself with, because Slow Motionary received some pretty good feedback, especially for a first album. So I was excited but a little bit nervous for On Guard to come out, just because it did, based on the singles that he released beforehand, just seemed kind of different. But I was definitely not disappointed, and definitely made my 2020 for sure.
This album I didn't discover or like go more in depth into until recently, and I really like Another Animal, and also Teenage Drug, but also On the Outside.
Yeah,
I really like On the Outside. That one's on a few of my playlists, and I really like Another Animal. And it is really different from Slow Motionary, and I get why you like Slow Motionary more. That is a very Grace album.
Yeah.
But I really like the change that he made, or like the different vibe to this one. Yeah, I like Ethan Gruska, and of course Enough for Now. That one's great.
Classic. Yeah, I forgot to mention On the Outside. I loved that song, but I think I didn't add it this time just because it was like the first song I loved off the album, so I was playing it forever, and then I was like, I'm kind of tired of this now, so I forgot. But yes, On the Outside also is very good. And Another Animal is, I've recently been getting into.
Makes me feel like I need to move while listening to it.
I know, it's good. It's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
You know the vibes.
It reminds me almost of Glass Animals, that song. Just lots of elements of like movement. You're right.
Moving parts to that song.
Yeah, for sure. But I was introduced to Ethan Gruska by Dodie Clark, because she posted The Valley on her story one time. And that might have been...
Ow.
Yeah, I know. And I was like, this song, like, whoa. And which got me into Slow Motionary. I'm not sure if that was when they were friends yet, because they've worked together before. But yeah, it's weird. It's weird, like, seeing how all these albums or like artists connect, because I found Ethan from Dodie, and then from Ethan I found Phoebe kind of at first, and then I kind of forgot about Phoebe, and then I listened to 975 and I was like, wait, Phoebe Bridgers, like I noticed that name, and then I found Phoebe and I was like, wait, Ethan produced on the, and then Phoebe's, it's just like they interlock, and maybe that's just because I'm into the same kind of music, but I don't know, it's cool. But like, again, if you think about it, the 1975 Phoebe Bridgers and Ethan Gruska are like totally different sounds from each other, so
oh yeah,
it's just, that's cool. But anyway, okay, wait, let me think. How many albums have you done? Because I know I accidentally stole Punisher.
We'll count Punisher. So Punisher, Sawayama, Women in Music Part 3.
Okay, and I've done Punisher and On Guard. So let me jump into my third album, and then we'll be back on track to alternate. Again, I have this on vinyl too, so let me go pick it up. Next album I have, is this the right one? Yes. This is Notes on a Conditional Form by the 1975.
You stole another one.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Okay, well
It's
then
okay.
we can.
Good thing I have my honorable mentions.
Yeah, I'm glad you have them now. But anyway, Notes on a Conditional Form by the 1975 came out June or July, sometime in the summer.
I'm gonna look it up.
But this was my comfort album, the way Punisher was yours. Like, I would go bike in my neighborhood. I would bike in the sweltering heat of Texas summer, listening to. I like made my own special playlist of, because like some of the songs on here are like hard to handle. Like, don't worry, I gotta be prepared for that one. But like I
have to make a no skips version of this album because it's so long.
That too. Like this is like
there aren't any skips.
Correct.
But like, if you want to just like keep going. Like with one vibe, you have to make a no skips album.
The album is 1 hour and 20 minutes long, and Ellie and I stayed up together and listened to it. And I remember
live texted.
Yeah, it was live snapped literally.
It came out in May.
In May. Whoa. Okay, I was
May
lost.
22nd.
That's crazy. But that we had heard a lot of the singles off this album previously, just because Notes took forever. It was supposed to come out in 2019, and then they said, haha, no, we're still working on it, and then it didn't come out till May, which I'm glad they waited, just because the songs here fit together so well, and they're again totally different.
1975 poster.
Oh yeah, look, there she is.
That one's for Sincerity is scary though. Wrong album.
Still a great song though. But again, I think this album really, like, I mean, I've listened to podcasts about it, so like I kind of know I know what they're going for now, but even before then, it's like they are shifting to a new era. Like, ooh, crazy. And like 1975 stands are difficult because they came with chocolate and they stayed and they keep expecting chocolate, and you can't do that. We let Matty Healy go into his studio and go, I should call you straight, but you know as well. Like, we let him do that, and we said that was so good, and then it became
like it. Give me more.
Yeah, like as he said,
they're like chocolate.
Yeah, what? We let him do that, and like, yeah, it's a fun song, but that's not the 1975. The 1975 is Change of Heart, is Robbers, is Somebody Else, is Menswear, Frail State of Mind, Petrichor. Like, that's the 1975. Like, Having No Head. George said, let me do this, and they said, go George, do this, and he did. And I remember when I listened to that song, that is oh my gosh, that's like at the end of the album. It's one of the last 5 songs. And so when I was listening to it for the first time all the way through, I hit that one and I said, I was so tired. Had been listening to music for like an hour and 20 minutes, or an hour and 10 minutes.
So long.
Yeah, and the song is 6 minutes. And so I'm sitting there, I'm like, I think I've entered another universe. I think I've entered a parallel universe, and it was a weird experience. But like, I love Having No Head now. To me, it has the same energy as How to Draw Petrichor. Like, it just feels very good. Like, I don't know. But like, all the songs on this album to me are a perfect blend of the last albums and something new. And I think that is something that the 1975 has mastered the art of, is knowing when one album is done. Because on a podcast I listen to, it's like, we will write songs. Like, some of the songs on this album came from the old eras. But they know where to put it. They know when it doesn't belong somewhere and when it needs to go somewhere else. And like, they have mastered, I don't even know what genre, like, I would consider them kind of indie, but they're not really indie.
I think they're alternative pop rock.
Yeah, like Matty,
but like, so much falls into that category.
Exactly. And it's like, Matty seems to think that he said in tape notes, actually, he was like, we're the emo band that survived emo. And I was like, I don't think I've ever considered the 1975 an emo band, but sure.
Yeah. They were like part of that like Tumblr phase in like 2016.
Yeah, 2014. It was when 2016 romanticized 2014, and now we're in 2019. It is not 2019.
It is 2021, Grace.
Sorry, I'm a little behind. But that album, I listen to Roadkill every day. I still listen to Roadkill every day.
I was so confused when I heard Roadkill the first time. I was like, are we a country band now?
Yeehaw!
And then I got into it. Like, the flow of the album from, I don't know. I love that group of songs around Roadkill, though.
Yeah.
What is it?
That's on my no skips. Jesus Christ, Roadkill.
No skips, no asaf. Yeah, because it goes, it goes, I just love all of these in this order. Oh my gosh. Because sometimes I pick albums to listen to just for like a little bit, and I like pick somewhere in the album to start, and then I'm like, wait, but the song before it is so good. But the song before that one is so good. Yeah. So I just end up listening to the whole thing. And that's how it is right around like if I want to start with Jesus Christ 2005, God Bless America, which, what the hell is that name? But whatever, I love the song. Right before it is Then Because She Goes, and then in front of that is Yeah, I Know, and then in front of that is the birthday party.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I have to listen to the birthday party.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I guess I'll listen to like the whole thing. But yeah, a few of these were also on my top 100 songs. I think Nothing Revealed, Everything Denied.
Really?
Is one of my favorites of the album.
Really?
I love that song.
Huh.
Why are you surprised?
I don't know. It is a great song. I would peg you more as a Frail State of Mind if you're too shy.
I do love Frail State of Mind.
Mm-hmm.
I do love Frail State of Mind. I love If You're Too Shy, but Nothing Revealed, Everything Denied is one of my top ones of this album.
I should give it another listen then.
Same thing for Playing on My Mind.
Ooh,
and
good.
Of course, Don't Worry, and Guys.
Ouch.
Which
Guys,
you have to
Guys is a love song to the boys, and I've never been more appreciative of anything else from Matty Healy.
No, it makes me so happy that that's like the last song on that album, because they could have ended with Don't Worry.
Yeah. That would be very
and it would have been
1975
a really
of them.
sad end. But they were like, "Nah, we're gonna talk about the boys for the
Yeah.
last like 4 minutes." And
Well,
I
if
was
you look
like,
at the
"Okay,
last albums,
that's fair."
they always end on a sad note because we've got in the self-titled, it ends on not woman, the one about his brother. Oh boy. I think so,
She
something
lays down
called
finishes one.
hmm? Oh yeah, She Lays Down
Doesn't
is one
she
of
lays
them.
down?
Yeah. That's really sad.
Okay. At the end of the 1975, not the deluxe version,
There's somebody who should
is there
watch you.
somebody
Yeah.
who can watch
Who
you?
can watch you? Yeah.
God, that
Like
one.
sad stuff. She Lays Down? What was it on?
Brief Inquiry?
Yeah, it wasn't Be My Mistake, was it? Yes, it was.
I always want to die sometimes.
Oh, see, like they end on
Yeah.
such sad songs, and again, you're right. He could have done it this time, and they said, nope, let's slap guys at the very end and just say, hey.
I was missing the guys.
I was missing the guys. So good. It's just so good.
I love it.
So that's Notes on a Conditional Form. I'm in the 1975 Facebook fan group thing. There's like thousands of people, and when Notes came out, they were not happy. I'm generalizing, but people were like, this doesn't sound, or yeah, they were just like, it doesn't sound like the 1985. I'm like, oh, you mean it doesn't sound like chocolate?
Yeah, they're allowed to change their sound a little bit.
I mean,
like,
yeah, that's the point.
I always think that artists are like changing their sounds so drastically when I like first hear an album, but that's just because I don't know what to expect. When I keep listening to it, I'm like, of course, there are parts of this album over here and that album over there. You know, it's, you know, you just have to listen to it more. And I didn't love the instrumentals like when I first started listening to this album, like because there were so many of them on this one. And I was just kind of like thrown off, and I couldn't really get the track list in my head at the start.
Yeah.
But I just kept listening to it, and I was like, yeah, I like this one.
No, I feel that 100%. I think when I listen to albums for the first time, I'm always looking for like one or two to latch to, like catchy ones, and then I'll go back and listen to like the more nostalgic ones or like the instrumentals, because then I can appreciate them, especially when afterward, like they start talking about them on talk shows and podcasts and write about them online or whatever, and I'm like, okay, now I understand the context for this, and I can appreciate it more for what you wanted to do with it, what I maybe passed over because, you know, I was just listening to it. But yeah, okay, wait, do you want to do your last album, or should I do mine to get back on track? Because I've stolen two of them now.
You go ahead.
Okay. This one I do not have on vinyl. It's the only one I don't, but it is Give Me a Minute by Lizzie McAlpine. She has been up and coming, like at least from what I've seen this year. She went to Berkeley for a few years and then I think moved to Europe. Like, I don't know, but she released Give Me a Minute, which was highly anticipated by many, both through TikTok and also, like high artists such as Jody Clark. I don't know if she was buds with Jacob Collier at the time, but now they're buds, and I might sneeze in a second. Give me a second. No, I'm good. But anyway, Give Me a Minute is a work of acoustic art. Very Adam Milkor vibes, you know, just soft, what it is. She doesn't try to do anything crazy. It's just like, if I feel like if you took a picture of her and put it on music, like it is so 100% what she wanted, and it's very modest. That is the word I'm looking for. Beautifully modest. The songs are very dynamic, but also very simple. And she knows how to write a song. Lizzie McAlpine knows how to write a song. Some of my tops from the album include Nothing, Sad and Stuff, Over the Ocean Call, or Andrew, To the Mountains, Pancakes for Dinner, and Headstones and Landmines. Not in
Which
that
is
order.
like half the songs.
Which are definitely half the songs, but I'm trying to see how long it's 43 minutes, easy to listen to, vibes for all occasions. Like, I'm driving through Colorado. I'm cooking dinner in my apartment. I'm just driving to the grocery store. Like, it's just everything. But
it's really nice, easy listening.
100%. And also also really nice for like deep diving into this artist. I don't think there could have been a better first album for Lizzie McAlpine. And I think she hit the nail on the head. And I just really appreciate her as somebody who is is straight up just a talented person and who trusted the artistic process and finally, you know, has the recognition that I think she deserves. It's very inspiring, and I appreciate her a lot as an artist. I will say it kind of surprised me when I decided to put this album on my top 5, just because I don't really listen to it the same way I listen to the other albums on my top 5. This is more of a me discovering her and being like, okay, this is who she is. But I don't like, I listened to the few songs I mentioned, and I haven't really gone back and listened to any of the other ones. I just really appreciate her and respect her as an artist, and I think it kind of shifted my perspective on 2020 as a musician myself, and trying to re-find myself in this weird situation that artists are in, or that at least I'm in on my personal journey. But anyway, that is that. So
Yeah, I like this one. It is easy listening, but also it's like there are some lyrics in there where it's like I have to pause every time and be like, oh, that was a good one. I was listening to it like the other day when I was having to like throw out some stuff or like keep some stuff or decide to store away some stuff. And it was just like, you know, it was a cute little moment listening to Lizzie McAlpine, because it is like not a super long album. But it's really like soothing, I think. I was also listening to this one when I was making a cardboard cutout of Christian Bale for Ellie Graff.
You were
I was
doing
listening
that.
to this one while doing that. I love how it starts. The subtle things, and then she's like, give me a minute, and I'm like, that's a great way to start this album. I just have to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have the same ones as you. Where Do I Go also means something. Same boat. How Do I Tell You? All good. Like, there are no like bangers on this album, but I don't think there has to be a banger on an album for it to like be diverse still, you know?
100%.
So I really like that one too. But it wasn't on my top 5 or in my honorable mentions. I forgot about this one.
There you go. Yeah, I kind of did too until I was looking at my top songs of 2020, or just like what I was listening to, and I was like, no, Lizzie deserves a spot here. This album just feels like a warm hug, or like, you know, the scene in Ratatouille when Ego eats the ratatouille and he's transported back to his house as a kid. Yes. It feels like that almost, just like this, like I don't know what about it makes me feel like I'm 16 again, but it makes me feel like I'm 16. And I'm just like very nostalgic, which, you know me, big fan of nostalgia.
Love nostalgia.
Yeah, so a little moment for Lizzie McAlpine. I'm really excited to see what she does in the future. But that was my album number 4. Do you want to hit us with your album number 5?
My album number 5 is Sleepyhead by Cavetown.
Okay.
And I mentioned this to you before on the podcast. But this one was like a big wallowing album for me. Like during quarantine, like how like there were a lot of albums coming out around the same time, and that was like Punisher, or like me discovering a lot of albums if they weren't like coming out at that time. So like Punisher, Future Nostalgia by Dua Lipa. That's a really good pop album, have to say. Sleepyhead by Cavetown, and Sawayama. I was like listening to those all at the same time, which is all very different sounds. But Sleepyhead was really like, I don't know, it was one of the sadder ones, I have to say. Like Cavetown isn't so lyrically complicated as Phoebe Bridgers, or as people think Phoebe Bridgers is. He's really simple in some of the ways that he writes and produces, but I think it really hits home for some of them at the same time, like the way that he's so plain out. And I wasn't expecting to love this album as much as I did. It just became one where it's like, I need to just lay down and listen to this. And it is like calming still. And there are some bops, like Sweet Tooth. It's like the opener of the album, and it goes from Sweet Tooth into For You. And that's kind of like a reprise of Sweet Tooth, but also like I don't know, what is it called? I don't know, like an instrumental kind of little in between into the rest of the album.
An interlude, perhaps?
Yeah, like kind of like an interlude. Yeah. So Sweet Tooth is like the opening number of this musical, and then For You is like we're gonna transition a little bit, and we're gonna give you the rest of the vibes on here. And it is really something that's like yearning for home. That's a big theme of it. Like not so much like a place, but like the people, or like just that comfort. Um, he has a song called "I Miss My Mom," and that one's really cute, but also kind of a bop. I don't know, that seems to be a trend, and I've been to a couple of his concerts, and he's just like a simple fellow with a cat, and a very very gentle artist, I think, but also like has a lot of fun in their shows and things like that. And so there are a few love songs, but there are also a few songs where it's like about being one person, about being yourself and being in your head, and like trying to come out of it, and like the journey of oneself, and not so much everything going on around you, which is what was happening with a lot of the other albums that I really liked. Sleepyhead was really centering for me, I think, and it was like, it felt like my room. That's what this album felt like. Um and I wasn't really expecting that from Cave Town. It's a much mature album, I think, from him. And the last song, um Empty Bed, is just heart-wrenching. I don't know if you've heard it before,
I have
but
not.
it makes me so sad. um and it made me so sad the first time I heard it, where I was like, I can't listen to this again. Like, I can't listen to this again. But I had to. It hurt so good. I love that song. And it's so simple too. Like, really, it's not that long, but it's encouraging at the same time. It's a weird way to finish the album for sure. Like, I don't know what he wants me to feel at the end of this album, but I really liked that song, and I think it was also my top 100 songs of the year. Um, yeah, I just think it was a good growth album from Cave Town, and I really liked it.
Oh, I wish I could add more to it. I have not listened to that album, but I suppose I should now.
Listen to it. You should listen to it the full way through, but if not, Empty Bed alone is good.
Okay.
And it's like the sister song to Trying, which is another like one about yourself, and same thing with like Pajama Pants. It's a good, that's the song title. It's funny, but I like it a lot. Yes, warms me, that album.
Good. I love that for you. I'll have to go listen to it. Okay, I'm gonna take my hair down, but while I'm doing this, you were mentioning
Your turn.
how I know this is my last album. You were mentioning how, well, give me a second, but how
Give me a minute.
you were mentioning how that last song really just kind of destroys you, and you thought you couldn't listen to it anymore, but you had to. So based on that information, that is how I feel about my next album, and I would like to know if you want to guess what my last album might be. Wait.
Oh,
While I'm picking it up, if you cannot guess, that is okay, but you will not be surprised by.
I don't want to be surprised. I want to know what it is. Do I? Oh, is it Bruno Major? No, did that come out? Yeah.
Bruno Major's "To Let a Good Thing Die."
Okay.
This album I have listened to all the way through only twice, and I have barely listened to the songs otherwise, because I have never known pain like I have known this album. Never in my life. I have, and okay, so funny story. I listened to this, I had never even heard of Bruno Major, which is really embarrassing, to be honest. Because everyone else did, and I didn't, and that's sad. Especially, I go to music school. Like,
I was so surprised.
I know, everyone was. They were like, what are you talking about? I was like, I'm sorry, I just don't. But I was introduced to Bruno Major by a friend of mine literally the day before I came home from fall semester. So this is like almost the end of November, like mid-November. Within the week, I was the proud owner of these two on vinyl. And if you know me, you know that I don't like buy vinyl. Like, it has to be really, really, really valuable to me to buy vinyl. And I bought both of his albums. And I sent Ellie videos of me, like, crying. Like, not even crying. Like, I hysterically sob when I listen to his music. It is... I don't even know if there's much I can say about this album besides I think everybody on the planet needs to listen to Bruno Major. But he has one album, A Song for Every Moon. He wrote a song for every month of a year and released it. Immaculate album, but I have To Let a Good Thing Die on my top 20 or top 5 because it came out in 2020. Some of my top songs include The Most Beautiful Thing, Nothing, which I have 2 songs on Spotify that are quote unquote hidden, like, you know, the button you press and it turns off a song basically, so it won't come on if you shuffle the album or if you put it anywhere. I have 2 songs that are hidden, and that includes Taylor Swift's Never Grow Up, which I unhid a few weeks ago. Big mistake. It is now hidden again. And Nothing by Bruno Major. It's not even a sad song. It's quite a beautiful song.
It's not a sad song.
It's so romantic.
Know why.
It is beautifully romantic, but it is too much for me. Like, I was like, somebody cannot be capable of this kind of love ever. Like, it's just
not allowed on my Spotify.
No. So Nothing is hidden, but it's a great song. Notice, because it is on my top. And then I also have like the last 4 of the last 5 songs on the B-side, which are She Chose Me, Figment of My Mind ruins me. I'll Sleep When I'm Older, very much me turning from 19 to 20 of me, and To Let a Good Thing Die. This album
I can't listen to Let a Good Thing Die.
I can't either anymore. This album happened happened to me at a turning point for my 2020, like probably the hardest part of my 2020. And I think that might be why I'm so emotionally drained by it. It's just because I was listening to it at a time when I was very much fluctuating in mental health, like not knowing where the path was going, not only for me personally, but for a lot of my friends. For 2020 as a year, it was just a lot. And I think a lot of my anxiety is now attached itself to this album, which is sad because I want to listen, and I do listen to the songs, but every single time I hear this man's voice, it's like, it feels like a panic attack, except I know I'm not going to have one. It just feels like that's kind of maybe what could happen if I let it. Like, it's really weird, and I don't know why I'm so drawn to that. I really want to sit down more and like appreciate this album, because Bruno Major truly is an immaculate artist. Immaculate. And I am so excited. I'm so excited that I've been introduced to him now. I'm so excited that my friends like his music. I'm really excited to see what he comes up with next, just because this album, but also I will say though, I think we've been talking about in this episode how artists are like evolving with every album they make, but To Let a Good Thing Die sounds like his previous album, A Song for Every Moon. Very much the same energy, but like I don't think I will ever get enough of A Song for Every Moon, and therefore I will never get enough of To Let a Good Thing Die. It is pure Bruno Major, and again, I will say this a million times, but it's very much his own sound, and I could not appreciate it more. And I'm glad that he's continuing. Like, this is one case I would say I'm glad he is continuing down his own. He's not really, I don't want, because he is evolving, but his evolution is more in depth to himself, not into any particular sound or feeling or anything. But actually, based on feeling, I have never heard anybody write about the emotion or the feeling or the action of love like this man does. It is ethereal. He makes
it sound so simple with his music.
I mean, yes, but at the same time, he doesn't, because actually, no, you're right. He definitely does. But for songs like, well, what's the song? It might be on the other album, but it's basically like, oh, what does he say? It's basically, he says a line like, either I'll write you a sad song or he'll write you a sad song and it won't make you cry, which is such an easy lyric, but like, he won't make you cry. Like, ow. But like, he makes the action of, no, you know what? No, I take back what I said. You're 100% right. He makes both loving someone and being rejected by somebody such a simple feeling. Anyway.
Thanks.
Yeah. So anything else you have to say about To Let a Good Thing Die?
It's another one of those like more easy listening ones for me.
Couldn't be
I know
me.
You might hate that.
Couldn't be me. I would give anything to have this as an easy listening album, but simply that is not the case.
No, I don't have that connection with Bruno Major that you do, but I would still really do like his music. But I don't know. It may be just figment of my mind and To Let a Good Thing Die. Actually, maybe, which one is it on the Song for Every Moon? Places We Won't Walk, actually.
Again, actually, I lied. There are 3 hidden
Can't-
songs on my Spotify. That is one of them.
Yeah, Places We Won't Walk is a sad one.
Too much. Too much.
But that's not on Figment. No. Yeah.
Yeah. So. Yeah.
Anyway, I'd like to bring up my honorable mentions.
Please do. Give us the rundown.
Since you stole a few of my albums.
Sorry.
Briefly mentioning Dreamland by Coin. I love Coin. That's a Coin poster. It's signed. There's a heart on it. Before this stream, I was going back and watching like all of my Coin concert footage that I have. Love them a lot. Anyway, that one's great. Dreamland by Coin. The evolution of them it's just going great. I love their evolution. Another one, Beginners by Christian Lee Hudson. I really liked that album, and I listened to it first because Phoebe Bridgers produced it. And
I didn't know that.
Yes, she did, and she's also like some background vocals in some of the songs. He's hurting. Christian Lee Hudson, are you okay? I'd like to give you a hug. I'd like to give you a virtual hug, my man. This album is great. I love this album. All of the songs are good. You really hit home, my guy. But also he's so angry, and I'm still trying to figure out what some of the songs are about, because it could be he's sad, it could be he's angry. I don't know. There's a lot of levels to this album, and I like it. So Lose This Number, that one, I think that one's about how he hates his dad. It's a good one. Lose This Number, and then Northsiders, that's one that real stuck out to me. Very good. Twin Soul, Get the Old Band Back Together, and Single for the Summer was a song that got me through the summer. I like that one. And then my third and final honorable mention is High Road by Kesha. Yes, I am a Kesha stan. I'm not ashamed of it.
Why would you be ashamed of it? Absolutely not.
I like good pop. Some people will shame me for liking good pop. I won't be sorry. Kesha is good pop.
Facts.
Kesha.
100%. Kesha is pop. Kesha defined pop, and I will not take it back.
Kesha is pop. Anyway, that album is great. High Road, Resentment. Resentment is a good song. It's not pop. It is just a good song. I need to pull up that album. Hold on. High Road by Kesha. Tonight is the opening song of it, and it slaps. Great song. High Road again. Great song. Honey, oh my god. Honey by Kesha was another song of the summer. I swear, I was listening to Punisher, and then Honey, and then Christian Lee Hudson, and Sawayama, and it was a terrible mix. Oh my gosh. But it was, Kesha makes me feel alive. Resentment featuring Sturgill Simpson and Rabble. Rabble was, I don't know if you listen, Rabble. He was a lot on this album. He probably like helped produce it. I loved it. BFF featuring Rabble. That's a great song. Yeah. Anyway, good. She has a song called Father-Daughter Dance about how she'll never have a father-daughter dance because she does not have a relationship with her father. It's a sad one.
Whoa.
But it's very good, and it's not necessarily pop. But the album, like, some people were like, what is this trash album? And I was like, you shut up. Kesha is good.
This is not Kesha with a $sign. This is Kesha with an S.
This is Kesha without the $.
Pay attention.
Yeah, it is Kesha.
Kesha.
Mm-hmm. I got AirPods for Christmas, and I put a QR code. And I put a QR code sticker on my AirPod case, so when you scan it, it'll
leave it up. I'm gonna try and scan it on my phone and see if it works.
Oh my gosh, try it. We'll see if you can get it.
Wait, let me.
I won't tell you what it goes to then.
Oh, it worked. Okay, let's see what it takes me to.
Let's hope there's not an ad.
It's Kesha's "We Are Who We Are," which I cannot play with sound, or else I will get copyright striked.
It's Kesha's "We Are Who We Are" music video. I love that song personally. It was my song of the summer for 2019. I love "We Are Who We Are."
Classic, timeless song.
Kesha was supposed to be the concert I saw in April of 2020, and then it got canceled. But whatever. I'll see her one day, hopefully. I look forward to that day.
Yes.
The range.
There are so many artists I've discovered, which I will talk about. I don't have honorable mention albums. I have honorable mention artists, which most of them, well, not most of them. A few of them I was supposed to see, and obviously that did not happen. Well, not really, but I was supposed to see the 1975. I was supposed to see 100 Gex. I was supposed to see Slender Bodies. At one point I was also supposed to see Coin, but I pulled out of that one fast. Anyway, my honorable mentions, which I don't really have anything to talk about really specifically about them, just that they exist and should be appreciated. Caroline Polachek. Nothing specific.
Okay.
No, not like just her as a person. Like, so
Yes.
You're hurting my feelings. So hurting my feelings. Get a little like that song. That might have been my song in the summer. I love.
That one's so fun.
So You're Hurting My Feelings, and then she also released a Christmas version called So Cold You're Hurting My Feelings. It was a fundraiser, but you can find it on YouTube. Great song. I didn't really listen to the album yet, which Pang came out in 2019. Includes Look At Me Now, which is great.
Yeah. Love Look At Me Now.
Yeah. But what were you
I found that one while my family was on a road trip, on an 18-hour road trip to Calexico, California. I think we were actually on the way home. We were in like middle of nowhere, New Mexico, and that song came on for me, and I was like, wow, ouch.
Yeah.
Look At Me Now.
Look At Me Now. So good.
Great album. Great song. Great single.
Yeah. But I've really kind of, I wouldn't even say gotten into her, but I've found her, and I really respect her, and I'm looking forward to what maybe one of her albums this year will be a top of 2021. Who knows? But Caroline Polachek, Marika Hackman, who I only knew her as the person who dated Amber Bain of the Japanese House and had a whole album basically about her. Good at Falling, Stream Good at Falling, came out in 2019, but my favorite album of all time. But Marika Hackman, big Marika Hackman gal now. I love Marika Hackman.
I have not heard one song.
I have an essentials playlist that I will send to you.
Okay, please do.
I love Marika Hackman, and my issue is I am the Japanese House's #1 fan. I will say it, and I will claim it. Simply put, I am the #1 fan. #1 fan by Muna. Oh, Muna should be on my honorable mention. I'm the #1 fan, so iconic. Big
I love
stan.
that song.
It's so good. So honorable mention Muna also. But anyway, Marika Hackman to me sounds like a blend between the Japanese House and Phoebe Bridgers, which is a weird combination, but it's cool. Like I really like Marika Hackman now. So again, not really anything particular. There are a few songs that I really like, but I'm still getting into her, so I'm trying to, work my way through. But Marika Hackman, moi. Next up, I have 100 Gex. I listened to 100 Gex the first time in January. It was December of 2019, and I hated 100 Gex. I hated 100 Gex. I'd said, this is not music. This is noise, and it makes me uncomfortable. But then in January, I put on Ringtone, and I said, Ringtone's pretty good. And then I started listening to Stupid Horse, and I said, Stupid Horse is pretty good. And then I got into Hand Crushed by a Mallet and 800 dB Cloud. Like, I was like, no, 100 Gex is a thing. And I will say I did like 100 Gex before it was cool. That is one thing I will claim now. But 100 Gex found fame in 2020. They really killed it, and they created a whole new genre. Mm-hmm. They created glitchcore, which I think is really cool. So anyway, 100 Gex for 2020. Hyperpop. And then finally,
100 Gex, please get me into college.
Yeah, Ellie wrote a college essay about 100 Gex, and it was really good. It was really good.
Thank you. Thank you.
But yeah, so there's that. And then finally, it would not be any type of music podcast if I did not mention the Japanese House. So the Chewing Cotton Wool EP came out this year. Great EP, 4 songs, no comments about it. Very good music. Love the Japanese House, but there's that. So those are my honorable mentions.
Love Chewing Cotton Wool.
Yes. So
Cave Town made a cover of that song.
Shut up. Send it to me.
I don't know if it's on Spotify, but it's on YouTube, I think.
I'll watch it on YouTube too.
I'll still send it to you.
Please do. But yeah, that was our discussion.
Also, Orla Gartland, sorry.
Oh.
That's another honorable mention artist of 2020 for me.
I'm not super into her.
I love Orla. Love.
Yeah, I don't really know why, because she's definitely has the vibes that I like in indie pop music, so don't really know, but anyway.
I like her a lot.
I like her a lot. Very nice, very good.
Oh my god. Wait, no, that wasn't 2020.
Well, okay, you can still mention it. You can still mention it.
Igor by Tyler, the Creator. I love that album. Like, that whole album is in my top 100 songs. 2020. It's crazy, because I only discovered Tyler, the Creator this year. I feel like I'm so fake. I'm fake Tyler, the Creator.
Me finding out about Phoebe Bridgers this year. It happens. But actually, now that you mention it, a lot of my album of top songs, like, it's pretty much last year my top 10 songs were all Good at Falling, like that album by the Japanese House, and also this year the same songs from Good at Falling were on my top. Like, Maybe You're the Reason has now been my top song for 2 years in a row, so you know, it happens.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Killer was my number 1 in 2019, and then it's still in the top 10 for 2020.
Dang.
So
good music.
Love you, Phoebe.
Love you, Amber Bain.
This one goes out to Phoebe Bridgers. I love
you. Ladies and gentlemen, her. And it's just Phoebe Bridgers. I cannot wait to go to a Phoebe Bridgers concert. Like, I cannot wait.
It's just gonna be like, it's literally gonna be a group therapy session.
No, that's what the whole joke is, like, what do you do at a Phoebe Bridgers concert? Like, what do you do when you go see Folklore on tour?
They probably have tissues at the end of the stage.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it was a real choice for me not to put Folklore or Evermore in my top 5 or my honorable mentions.
I definitely contemplated it.
It needs to go. It doesn't have to be said.
Yes, perfect way to put that. Just
it's Taylor Swift.
You're
like,
right.
Literally.
Yeah,
no
she's got her own category. She's on a different plane. Like, we just.
Thank you, Taylor, but you don't need the hype right now.
Correct. 100%. Yeah, well, that's all I've got. We did a fun little. Wow, we've been talking for like an hour and 20 minutes, so long time. But maybe we could make this a yearly thing, just like whenever you're talking about our favorite albums of the year. I'm really excited for the music coming out in 2021, just because with all quarantine and everything, I feel like there's going to be a lot happening, and especially if we are able to get
New Orange County album this year.
You're kidding. Based on the situation.
Bro, he had his heart broken. I am so ready for this new album.
I'm scared. It's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt. But anyway, good music coming in 2021. I'm so pumped. Yeah, it's gonna be
2021. That's my
girl.
One Direction phase.
That's my girl.
Oh, honorable mention: The New Abnormal by The Strokes. Great album. I like it.
The Strokes in 2021. Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, The Strokes in 2021. I mean, this album came out in 2020, but I like it still. Good album.
Good album. Love it. All right. Well, is there anything else you'd like to say? You always let people plug on your podcast. You want to plug on this one-off?
Then I'm going to plug my podcast. Again, Defeating the Purpose by Elisa Arguello on Spotify. Go follow it. Listen to me and Grace talk about music even more in my most recent episode. I'm on hiatus right now for Christmas break, but we're getting on track again soon.
Great. I don't have anything to plug. This is on my Twitch, so I'm a Twitch affiliate now, so try out the new emotes designed by my friend Enzi. That's all I've got to say. Thank you everyone for listening. If you're on
follow me on Instagram.
Oh, that too.
Elisa.atx.
There you go.
Yeah.
But that's all we've got for you today. If you're watching this on Twitch, thank you very much. It'll be up. I don't know what the length is for affiliate VODs, but it'll be up here. And then I'm also posting it on YouTube. So you can watch it there as well. And yeah, very excited. Very excited for this year in music. It's going to be definitely an interesting one. So yeah. Right.
Well, thanks for having me, Grace.
Thank you. Thank you for joining me and being willing to talk about music for so long. It's good. It's healthy for us. Thank you very much. And hopefully we'll be able to do this again at the beginning of next year.